Hello, me again. I hope this will be fairly quick. Um, Essentially, I just want to do a yet another update regarding a few releases that are kind of snagged at the moment, and I also just want to talk about a couple of other things and maybe some things in general related to the labels as well. But I'll try to keep it brief, try to keep it succinct for a change. Um, Firstly, um, I want to say something about the Edward Ka-Spel 10-inch on Lumberton Trading Company. This has met with a series of problems since the very beginning. The actual masters went into production, went to the plant last year, so that's 2021. So with a view to hopefully the release having appeared last year as well. I hoped it would come out late last year, last autumn, late last year. It became clear that there were some problems, so I then thought maybe it will come out this spring. As it turned out, I didn't even receive the test pressings until summer this year. So, so that's one part of the story. Perhaps the only good thing in relation to that is that good old Puppy 38, my designer in Vienna and friend, I should say, has changed the date on the artwork, because originally we had 2021 on the back cover, so we've changed it to 2022. But it seems like we have to change it again, because 2 days ago I was told by Steve Pittis of Dirty Promotions, again, as I always reiterate, this is absolutely nothing to do with him. The problems that we encounter are nothing to do with him. He's just my go-between between the plant and myself, you know. He's in a he's been doing record pressing for a long time now, and he's in a good position. He has a good deal with the plant, and I've used Steve on and off for many years now, since the 1990s actually. So anyway, yeah, 2 days ago, Steve wrote to me and said the plant have changed their template, so we now have to regrid or replot the artwork on this new template for Edward Ka-Spel and for the Kleistwahr double LP as well, that's about to go into production. There'll also be a final LP or vinyl version of the album that I did recently on Fourth Dimension. So yeah, so Edward Ka-Spel, to stay focused on that for the moment. That 10-inch will probably, well, I expect the artwork will be ready and with me for early next week. The regridded artwork using the new template. It will then be in Steve's hands once again soon after. But I imagine we're looking at weeks yet again before we even get any news as to when the delivery time might be. I think we're looking at early next year now. So we've changed the I instructed Puppy 38 to change the date again to 2023. Cargo Records won't be able to go out on the 10-inch until early next year anyway. So so yeah, so we're looking at a release that's taken so far well over a year and a half, and might well have taken well over 2 years by the time it actually sees the light of day. So I really apologize to everybody who's pre-ordered it, who's waiting for it. It's happening. We've got the test pressings. They were approved a few months ago. And there's a story attached to that as well. We've sent the artwork to the plant twice in the last year, and then after the test pressings were approved, the plant said they didn't have the artwork. So this is the kind of shit that you have to deal with when you're doing all this. So don't do it. That's my advice. Fucking, it's bollocks. It really is. Um, um, what are the perks? Getting to know a person in the post office. Getting some freebies sometimes. You know, that's about it really. You know, it's slit your own throat sort of territory, most of this. So it's really diabolical. But nonetheless, I do kid myself that I enjoy it. So I'll keep going until I at least stop kidding myself that I enjoy it. So I am joking, of course, but you know, I'm just trying ultimately to emphasise some of the hassles involved. It's not plain sailing, as this Edward Ka-Spel 10-inch permission to leave the temple is proving. So so that's one thing. So anybody who's waiting for that, please wait a little longer. I really appreciate your patience. Um, um, what more can I say? You know, you've waited long enough. What's another 2 or 3 months? So orders still keep coming for it as well. So maybe another advantage of with these delays is that I'll end up pressing more. Originally it was supposed to be 300, and I think we're up to 400 now, or 500. Maybe I'll need more. I don't know. I need to do a count of all the pre-orders. So yeah, that's one thing. What else? The Zsolt Sőrés double CD on Fourth Dimension. I understand that's ready, but there are some problems with bureaucracy, because some paperwork. I'm not actually funding that myself. It's being funded by an institute, probably based in Berlin or Germany somewhere. I don't know. Maybe Hungary, because Zsolt is from Budapest and he resides and has lived in Berlin now for well over a year. I don't know where he's got the funding from, but he's organised that. It's being funded by this institute, and we're just waiting for some paperwork to be completed. I think the CDs, the double CDs, have been ready for over a week now, maybe a week and a half, but we're just waiting for this bullshit to be dealt with. So there we go, another mound of shit to, you know, tunnel my way through. Well, and it's especially frustrating for Zsolt, you know, because he it's his work. Like any artist who is waiting for a new release, you know, a new baby to arrive. Yeah, people want to see how things look and sound. You know, once it's ready. So doubly frustrating for him, but frustrating for me as well. Again, we're looking at that now, perhaps being with us at the end of this month. What is it today? The 18th of November. And maybe we'll have it next week or the week after, hopefully. And Cargo, again, my main distributor in the UK, probably won't go out on that either until early next year, until January. So that's another thing that's delayed. There's a third thing as well. Oh, Blue Statue, the Blue Statue album, which I want to talk about in greater detail anyway. That's at the plant now, also with the CD manufacturer at the moment. I think that's on course for being here at the end of the month. Again, maybe next week, maybe the week after. I just need to pay the plant really. The funds are a little low at the moment, so that's one side of it. But I'll manage. Orders this time of the year just go, you know, sink right down. I think I've had one order in the last 3 days, you know, so it's not good. Maybe two actually. Not good. So I've gone from 2 weeks ago, whereby I was getting orders daily, a few orders daily, to now one order, two orders, well, a few orders each week. So funding is a problem at the moment, but um, um, which is another reason why I always do these fucking posts, because um, the virtual begging bowl. But yeah, so Blue Statue, that should be ready at the end of the month. I want to say something about that. It's a very some might argue it's a little outside Fourth Dimension's usual territory, but I want to clarify a couple of things. As somebody said to me, somebody who does pretty much buy everything that I release, that I do have a few people that support the labels through thick and thin, and they just buy everything, and I'm really grateful to those people as well. But one of those people remarked a few days ago, it's a really rock and roll release, because there is a video by Blue Statue on YouTube on their own channel called Noetic, from the album. It's a good video as well, and yeah, it is rock and roll. It's a guitar based group from London. I wanted to do something a little perhaps a little away from what most people expect from Fourth Dimension. I don't like the idea of people expecting or having certain expectations of anything that I do with the labels or otherwise anyway. The label's done all kinds of stuff over the years. If you go back to Fourth Dimension in the late 80s, there were some kind of post-hardcore punk releases, some noise rock releases, or whatever you want to call it. So and earlier this year, I did the Void Fill. Oh, sorry, in the summer, I did the Void Fill album. It's pretty dancey, electronic, not really anything to do with the so-called industrial noise experimental spectrum that I'm generally apparently associated with. I've been told many times that I'm an industrial guy or experimental. Yes, I do put that kind of music out. I love a lot of that music, especially the music that I release. But I also listen to all kinds of other music as well, and I like songs, and I've probably said before I like well, I grew up with people like Wire and and The Cure and Echo and the Bunnymen and New Order and all this kind of thing, the Chameleons. So that kind of stuff, but from the more accessible end of things, and the more known, the more established end of things. But and I still listen to some of that stuff, the Bunnymen or whatever. And we can go into other sides as well. I was discussing with Mark Perry yesterday, Neil Young. I listen to Neil Young, Captain Beefheart, um, Will Oldham, all kinds of stuff. Smog. So I don't like the idea that anybody seems to foist on my labels as being one thing, one type of thing, because it's absolute bollocks. My labels, just as I've reiterated many times before, will release anything I fucking well like. I really like the music that Blue Statue do. You don't have to. I'm not telling you to like it. You don't have to buy the CD. But it is up for pre-order at the moment, and it will be ready soon. And it's a little I'll admit myself, it's a little away from what most people might expect of Fourth Dimension, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. Also, thinking about it as I have in the last few days, I have pontificated on this. I thought, well, I've worked with alternative TV in recent years as well, and they do more song based work. They don't just do that, of course, but that's more song based work. Gad Whip as well. Map 71, perhaps. Yeah, they're a little more avant-garde, but I'm not afraid of putting songs out on Fourth Dimension, or music that is song based. I might do even more of it. So because I'm fed up with people saying, "Oh, you're the industrial experimental label guy." Shouldn't really care what people think, and I don't, frankly. But um, it is part of the reason why I wanted to do something a little more guitar based. There is a post punk sensibility to Blue Statues music as well, and again, I really like it. When I listened to their music initially last year, I was thinking it sounds a little like, well, it reminded me a little of, to go back to Echo and the Bunnymen, Electrofiction, that album that Will Sargent and Ian McCulloch did in the 90s. And of course, I've got a copy of it and I've played it many times over the years. So I'm not just listening to Alvin Lucier and Lucier and Robert Ashley, or, you know, John Cage. I do listen to that stuff, or Albert Eiler or whatever. You know, I do listen to this stuff, but my tastes are fucking broad. So yeah, and I think at the moment I am going through a kind of more regular music phase anyway. So generally speaking, so I am listening to a little more in that way. Of course, I listen to all sorts of other stuff. I was playing Dead Voices on air yesterday, you know, their latest CD on Cold Spring. But nonetheless, yeah, I like songs as well. I like regular music, you know. So I'd be a fucking fool if, yeah, that's how I came here in the first place. I came into all this through punk. It wasn't avant-garde punk. It was bloody Sex Pistols and Public Image, you know. And yeah, okay, arguably Public Image went off into different directions in the early years, but certainly it was kind of more straightforward initially. That first single that I bought in '78, you know, Public Image, it's very, very sort of direct and straightforward. Pistols likewise, Skids. I think I Sham 69. I bought all that kind of stuff. Blondie. So all kinds of stuff in the late '70s, and it certainly. My point is, I certainly came into this through more mainstream, more ordinary, perhaps, music, you know, and it's always been there in the mix as well. So it does sound like I'm being a little apologetic for Blue Statues music. I'm not. I stand by it. I think it's fucking great. It's energizing. I've said before, they're younger guys as well. I don't know how old they are, but I think they're in their 30s and maybe early to mid 30s. I don't know. And I like what they're doing. I like it very much. So, and that's predominantly the reason for doing anything, you know. So, um, so there we are. I don't expect anybody who likes Kleistwahr to like that as well. I accept that I'm in a minority, perhaps, that likes that kind of music as well as Kleistwahr or Richard Young's more avant-garde works or whatever else I release on the label. So perhaps I'm not in the minority. Perhaps too many people are too cool to admit that they like, you know, more song orientated stuff. I couldn't give a fuck about being cool. So I'm definitely not cool. Never have been, and never will be. So there we go. So Blue Statues happening. To go back to that, that's happening at the end of the month. Don't think that will encounter any more delays. But again, we'll have to go out on that early next year properly. So it's going to have this year's date on the album artwork, but we'll be pushing it through Cargo early next year. Cargo are not going to push anything now this side of Christmas. So again, there's always a lull, you know, December and through to January, really. So all of these new releases that I'm doing will probably hit the shops in late January, maybe even mid-February. So, but in the meantime, of course, I will fulfill direct orders. Excuse me, I need some kava, as they say here in Poland. Some coffee. And I realise I'm already up to almost 20 minutes. So just very quickly to round off. So that's what's going on there. Oh, maybe while also talking about things that are delayed, Mark Perry book, the Mark Perry alternative TV book, that's in Mark's hands at the moment, and he's just going through it a second time. He's already removed 2 chapters, which I was okay with. It's quite a long book anyway. So, and it's his prerogative. It's prerogative. Did I say that correctly? Yeah, it's his right to pick away and delete, remove, or suggest removals of anything. In this. So that's where we're at the moment. Mark's going through that. He said it yesterday that he hopes to get the manuscript back to me at the end of next week, and then I've just got to kind of shape it up once again with his changes, if there are any, and finish the discography. And we're pretty much good to go to the proofreader, and then onto the design stage. So we're still looking early next year. I thought we would have proof copies by the end of this year, probably early next year now. So I hope people on my mailing list will watch this and listen, because otherwise I'll have to explain to lots of people about what's going on with all these different things. But anyway, it's still on target. There's also to be confirmed a tentative date in London with alternative TV and a Q&A as support between myself and Mark, but let's wait until Mark Perry himself announces this and confirms it. I'm not mentioning the date that we have in mind at the moment, but April is what we're looking at, and that will tie in with a book launch as well. Yes, I hope the book will be ready before that and copies will have gone out to various people, but there will be a kind of launch as well. So anybody who's perhaps anybody who will perhaps have their book by then can still come to the event, and maybe Mark will sign the book if you ask him nicely, and if he's got the pen power. So I don't know, but certainly there will be books on sale at the event as well. I think that's it. So yeah, lots of problems, lots of delays, all unavoidable. Anything else? Recently we had this arrive. It's a little dark, Puppy 38 said, the way this looks, the final album, but I think it looks really nice. I like this kind of dark, very, very, yeah. So the text is pretty dark as well, blends in really nicely. Reminds me of those old releases on, was it by Kaiji Haino on PSF years ago, where they would print black on black. Really nice. It's not quite that extreme, but it's nice. I like it. Only Puppy 38. I don't know what Justin Broadrick has thought of this. He hasn't said, but I like the way this looks. I've got about 10 copies of this left as well. 10, 11, 12 maybe. So if you want a copy of this, either go for the CD deal, which includes this, whatever it is, 7 CDs for £38, including the postage, including this, and including a copy of this, the Kleistwahr Common Values CD, which I'll talk about in a minute. So if you want that, get in quick, go for the deal or order direct. They've nearly all gone from me. Something else that sold out really quickly, just to go off at a very quick tangent, is the Nick Mott, The Fall of the Human Empire LP. I think Soundome in Italy have 1 copy left. Steve at Junk Wax Records in Penzance, Cornwall, might have a couple of copies in his shop, but my copies have all gone. It sold out really fast. We only did 100. Maybe I should have done more, but it's too late now. I think I'll only do 100 of the next one as well, because 300 of these hand assembly records is just too fucking much. So yeah, Nick Mott's gone. That's almost gone. Final. I Am the Dirt Under Your Fingernails on Fourth Dimension. This is the latest release on Fourth Dimension, the Kleistwahr Common Values had quite a nice review from Franz de Waard at Vital Weekly earlier this week. Really good album. I think it's I don't like saying it's Gary's best work, because I think he's done so much really, really phenomenal work. But it's certainly amongst the creme de la creme, So it's a really good album. Also going really well. So again, get in quick, or again, go for the CD deal where you get both, at least until these run out. And because the final CD has done so well, I'm going to do a vinyl version of it next year. So the pre-sale for that, the pre-order information will be up and running fairly soon. So that's something else to think about for next year. If you prefer vinyl, we will do it on vinyl next year. I don't know how many we'll do, probably 300. So, but certainly pre-order will be up soon, and typically I'll try and keep the price as low as possible as well. I don't like these overpriced vinyl releases that we see everywhere, over £20, over €20 for an LP. Fuck all that. It's bollocks. It doesn't need to be that expensive. So I'll try and keep it to the £14-15 mark, plus shipping, of course. I think that's it. I'll probably I will probably be back here fairly soon, anyway. So with maybe an update on the Blue Statue and the Zsolt CDs. Kleistwahr Do Not Mobility LPs, they're still going out as well, down to about 50 copies, I think. So again, get in if you're interested. And again, thanks again to everybody that buys direct, that supports the labels. Always appreciated. And definitely I've rambled for my usual almost or near 30-minute mark. So sorry about that. I just can't help myself. I think I've tripped over my words a few times as well, just trying to speed through everything. To try and quickly get through everything. But nonetheless, I'm sure you're all used to it. Anything else? I've got a fucking bloater here. I always get bloody spots when I eat fucking shitty chocolate. And I always have about a few days every month where I just get cravings for shitty chocolate. So I'm covered in bloody spots at the moment. So it doesn't really make any difference with a mug like this anyway. But on that note, I'm going. Anything? Oh, what can I say? If you get a chance to see Ramley at any point in the next year, if they play next year, I saw them 2 weeks ago in Wrocław. Absolutely fantastic. They were mind-blowing. Had a chance to hang around with Anthony and Gary and his wife Jem as well. Had some fun. My good friend Robin went with me as well. So it was a good time. So, but stunning live. Always recommend them. They were playing the electronic version of themselves, so the duo version, really good. I've only been to 5 gigs this year, but and they've all, no, one was a bit disappointing, but the rest have all been good. But I'm not going to talk about that now. Just want to finish by saying, if you ever get a chance to see Ramley and you haven't yet, do so. I'm sure they'll be playing again sometime next year or the year after. Okay, on that note, thanks a lot. Thanks for listening. Sorry for boring you, and take care. Cheers. Bye bye.